Welcome back. Today we will be continuing White Lies, How the South Lost the Civil War, then Rewrote the History by Ann Bausum. We will be reading line number 6. The South's defeat had been inevitable. It will be difficult to get the world to understand the odds against which we fought. Robert E. Lee wrote Jubal Early in 1866. Early was among those who accepted his Confederate commander's statement as a personal challenge. Convincing others that the South had battled nobly against insurmountable odds became a pursuit that filled the rest of his life and those of many other former Confederates. As with other lost cause lies, this statement held a grain of truth. The Confederacy had been at a disadvantage when its resources were compared to those of the United States, but strategy had mattered too. By emphasizing the South's military disadvantage and minimizing its strategic errors, people like Early were able to protect their own political leaders and military commanders from being blamed for the Confederacy's defeat. With this framing, Southerners became heroes, not losers, who could be celebrated for fighting on against all odds. This misrepresentation of the facts also made it easier to dismiss accomplishments of U.S. commanders and the bravery of the U.S. soldiers and sailors. Today's historians dispute the claims of Early and other former Confederates. In fact, they note the South's defeat had not been inevitable. The US military had faced the challenge of retaking a vast and hostile territory. Confederates, as defenders, held the easier ground. All they had to do was hold on. After the Confederacy began to lose ground, its leaders could have reconsidered its commitment to the war. If defeat had always been or had become inevitable, why did they keep fighting? Why hadn't they surrendered and avoided the death and destruction that filled the closing years of the war? Furthermore, if the South's defeat had been inevitable, why had its leaders started the war in the first place by attacking Fort Sumter? Wasn't the South the architect of its own destruction? Those who preferred the narrative of the lie chose to ignore the flaws in the logic. The lie sufficed. And that is lie number 6. The South's defeat had been inevitable. So thus far, we've read the first 6 lies. The first one is that slavery was a compassionate institution. White men were models of chivalry during the antebellum era. The Civil War wasn't fought over slavery, it was all about states' rights. Confederate soldiers behaved honorably. U.S. soldiers were brutes. Confederate soldiers were not rebels. And today's, the South's defeat had been inevitable.